This is the video for Book 10 of the Aeneid. As we are nearing the end of the book, there are just a couple of new characters starting here in Book 10, um, but most of the action that is taking place is leading up to this showdown that is inevitable between Turnus and Aeneas. Samodice is the chief of the nymphs formed from Aeneas's ships. Lausus is the son of Mezentius, and remember, Mezentius is the tyrant. Tarchon is another leader of the Etruscans, and Pallas, again, is Evander's son. As the book opens, there is basically a conference of the gods on Mount Olympus, and Venus blames Juno for this prolonged battle that is going on, but Juno is not going to take the blame at all, and they go back and forth. And Jupiter declares that no one can help any of the mortals anymore. That there's got to be peace among the people, and that this interference by the gods cannot take place anymore. Aeneas is on his way to the fighting, and as the fighting continues, Venus still is going to help, quote unquote, Aeneas as much as she can. However, Pallas, King Evander's son, does die, and upon hearing that of his death, Aeneas is absolutely enraged. And this is one of the stones that helps to lay the foundation of Aeneas's anger and his ultimate willingness to take Turnus's life. Aeneas and Mezentius meet, and remember that Mezentius is one of the most absolute nasty characters. He is known for tying the living to the dead as a way to kill the living. He would take one dead body, and to punish one of the living bodies would bind them together until eventually the living body was dead. So he was a very evil and nasty character and villain. However, we see a different type of man when Aeneas kills his son Lausus. He immediately is remorseful and hates that his son was killed in his place. And then we see Aeneas's pity because this has happened. However, Mezentius lays down and allows himself to be killed because he is so distraught at the death of his son. This book is filled with battle scenes. Seems that there's no more than an endless catalog of slaughter. Virgil attempts to break the roll call of all of these gory deaths by inserting conversations between the gods and a list of the Etruscan heroes. Remember that this in-depth cataloging would be a way to promote patriotism and nationalism. While Virgil seeks to create a variety by giving every victim in the novel their own right, their own mentioning, he does create a list of names and alliances that are so bloody and so endless that it becomes a blur. With the gods out of the way, the Trojans and the Italians are now essentially equal. They are dying equally, painfully, and equally in great numbers. As the book continues, Aeneas does not commit acts that are in keeping with that archetypal Greek hero, that one that adheres to the code of honor. The godless Mezentius contrasts by behaving with honor, and Turnus is ready to kill himself because he has been removed from the battle. Remember, Turnus is basically sidetracked and moved out of the way so that he cannot kill Aeneas, and in doing so, he thinks that everyone is going to think that he is basically dodging his responsibilities, and he would rather commit suicide than to go down as someone who does not do what he is supposed to do in the battle. So none of these characters are all hero or all villain. Aeneas does not seem to be all hero because he is ready to take out and kill people and is acting in a way that is unbecoming to a hero. Whereas Turnus and Mezentius, who have been known as the villains, have this change in character because Turnus, who he is ready to kill himself, and then Mezentius is ready to die because he mourns the loss of his son. So it can be somewhat confusing. However, it is a Aeneas may have destiny on his side, but Turnus gains sympathy because he is fighting against destiny and for a just cause. Mezentius, a man who is known for tying the living to the dead on the battlefield, becomes a man who fights fairly and loves his son deeply. So Virgil, by not dehumanizing Aeneas's antagonist, has in a way made his work much richer. So it is, this is a very in-depth look at these characters. Um, and in contrast, Lausus and Pallas have much added depth. Lausus being Mezentius' son and Pallas being Evander's son. Both of them are young, handsome, but they are doomed to die on the battlefield. They are part of a recurring motif of untimely deaths that Virgil uses effectively to convey the message that war, while often necessary, is a great tragedy. Virgil's underlying desire for peace is completely in tune with the sentiments of his original audience. By this time in reading, everyone would have come to love and appreciate these characters, and to lose them would, of course, pull at the heartstrings of the reader. While they know it is something that is necessary to happen, it still underlies that message that war is a nasty game, and it is something that Augustus himself wants to make sure does not continue to happen or happen again during his rule.